I've forgotten what my own voice sounds like. 12 years of only the wind, the grinding of tectonic plates, and the hum of dying satellites. They call it the quiet, but that's a lie. Quiet doesn't have a heartbeat. The silence of Earth has a rhythm, a pulse that beats in the foundations of these ruins. I live in the shadows of what used to be a city. I spend my days scavenging, not for food. I have enough for another lifetime, but for pieces of the past. A watch that doesn't tick, a book with pages turned to dust. Today I traveled to the Atacama, the deep space array. I don't know why I came. A dream maybe? Or the planet pulling me toward its own scars. I wasn't looking for anything, yet I found everything. Buried under a meter of oxidized silt, encased in a polymer that didn't feel like plastic or metal. It was warm, like it had been waiting for a hand to hold it. A data slug. Pristine. My heart hammered against my ribs. The first time it had raced in a decade, I didn't rush. I cleaned it with the edge of my sleeve. I felt the static electricity crawling up my arm. A warning or a greeting, I couldn't tell. I sat there in the middle of the desert, under a sky that had forgotten the color of blue, and I opened it. It took 3 days to bypass the security. Not because I'm a genius, but because the code was designed to be solved by human intuition, by someone who knows how it feels to be tired, to be scared, to be alone. When the interface finally bloomed across my terminal, it didn't use language. It used raw sensory memory. It wasn't a file. It was a fragment of a soul. I saw a garden. I smelled rain on hot asphalt. I felt the hand of someone I had never met gripping mine. It was 1,000,000 years old, yet it was more human than anything I'd experienced in my lonely decade on this rock. The text began to scroll, a translation engine working in real time, mapping ancient neural pathways to my own language. If you are hearing this, it read, then you are the mistake they forgot to erase. You are the echo that refused to fade. The story that unfolded, it destroyed everything I thought I knew. We weren't just a species that climbed out of the mud. We were the archive. 1,000,000 years ago, the galaxy was a cold, efficient place. Species were tools, warriors, builders, thinkers. But they lacked the one thing that made us dangerous, the ability to dream of a better tomorrow while standing in the middle of today's wreckage. We were the keepers of art, of music, of the irrational, illogical flame of human hope. But the others, the ones who feared the chaos of emotion, they came for us. They didn't want to destroy our bodies. They wanted to erase the human virus, our capacity for love, our capacity for grief. Because if you can love something enough to die for it, you can never be controlled. The message showed me the great erasure, the ships in the sky, the final stand. They wiped our records. They burned our stars. They left Earth as a tomb, a silent monument to a species that was too stubborn to stop feeling. I thought I was reading a history book. I was wrong. The moment the encryption broke, the terminal didn't just display data. It transmitted. A beacon, screaming out from the dark, cold depths of my home. It wasn't meant for me. It was a trigger, a warning to the rest of the galaxy that the archive had been opened. The sky is changing. I look up, and the stars aren't twinkling anymore. They're moving. Something is waking up in the orbit of the moon. The erasers are back. They know I'm here. They know the human virus is active again. I could hide. I have tunnels, bunkers, ways to vanish into the ruins. But I look at the data slug in my hand and I see them. The millions who stood before me, who kept this memory alive for 1,000,000 years, just so I could know who I am. I'm not a survivor. I'm a librarian, and it's time to open the vault. I've bypassed the global transmitter. It's rusted, half-melted, and dying. But it's enough. I'm uploading everything, not just the history. I'm uploading the rain on the asphalt, the feeling of a first kiss, the crushing weight of a funeral, the irrational hope of a child. I am broadcasting the human experience into every corner of the galaxy. They wanted us to be ghosts? Fine. But we're going to be the loudest ghosts this universe has ever heard. The air is vibrating. My skin feels like it's burning. The ships in the sky are turning toward me. I see them. Massive, obsidian, cold. They're coming to finish the job. I don't care. I'm sitting on the edge of the crater, watching the sun set behind the monoliths of my ancestors. The upload is at 99%. They tried to erase us, but they forgot one thing. You can't kill a memory if it's sung by the entire universe. And for the first time in 1,000,000 years, the universe is finally listening. I am the last human on Earth, and I am finally home.